the #1 Costa Rica real estate and investment podcast, bringing you experts from all over Costa Rica.
Good evening, guys, and welcome to episode 205 of Costa Rica Real Estate and Investments with me, your host, Richard Beckson. Today, we're going to be talking with Dawn Lane of Bluewater Properties, but she also heads up the new Omni MLS here that the Costa Rican Association of Global Realtors is implementing throughout its members here in Costa Rica. So we're going to be talking to Dawn about the MLS, as well as kind of just a bit of a global market update. I'm very interested to have this podcast to get a little bit more knowledge about the MLS that we have here, as I love data, and it's going to be very interesting for me to take a look at the data once it starts to come in. So yeah, very much looking forward to this one. Remember, guys, if you're looking to invest in Costa Rica and would like a free chat with us, you can do in the description down below. You can click the free 15-minute consultation talk with one of our specialists, or you can email us info@investingcostarica.com. That's info@investingcostarica.com. A lot of the time you actually get to talk to me as well, which I'm not too sure whether that's a good thing or bad thing, but I do know that some of you like to talk to me. So again, info@investingcostarica.com. We do a variety of different stuff here, basically kind of guide you into making the right investment here in Costa Rica. We do project management of construction. We do the bidding process, oversee it, and basically our owners reps throughout the whole process. I like to say that we're your pain in the butt so that you can enjoy the process and kind of just really guide you through doing things here in Costa Rica. It was interesting. I was chatting with someone today, and they were like, Rich, you worked something out in 10 minutes that took me nearly a day to figure out. And I was like, well, you know, after you've been here for 20 years, you pick up a few things or two. But anyway, let's get straight into the podcast. Good afternoon, Dawn. How are you doing?
Doing well, thanks.
Fantastic. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here on the podcast. I know we've met multiple times, but it's nice to get you on here and to talk about the MLS and real estate in Costa Rica.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. It's my favorite thing to talk about. So I'm super excited.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I always like to start the podcast by getting a bit of an update of kind of what people are seeing happening in the market. You know, I mean, I would say the market's had a kind of like somewhat good start, even though we're halfway through the year in 2024. Real estate kind of worldwide due to interest rates is kind of slowing down a little bit. But I mean, what are you seeing happening here in Costa Rican real estate?
That's really interesting that you should ask, because actually, I think we all saw the report from the Ministerio of Tourism that said that the tourism is up 15% from 2023.
Yep.
So I have to imagine that out of that 15%, there's going to be some people that are pretty excited about purchasing some property here. And I think, you know, we did have a really great start, and now we're through with the over-exuberant tire kickers, so to speak, right?
Yep.
And I think as we enter into the green season, we see more experienced buyers, or perhaps some of those buyers that had visited here before but are now serious. You know, they're not trying to squeeze in showings in between the monkey showings and the zip line ride, right?
Yep.
You know, so, or getting a surf lesson in, right? So they're coming back now during the green season to really seriously focus on, you know, purchasing property. So I think although there are less buyers that we see, we have more serious people who have been in the pipeline maybe for a little while. And some of the other things that I see too is the construction in Guanacaste is insane. I mean, just insane. And the last thing I'll add to this before we move on is super interesting to see financing. I mean, banks are moving branches here. We've got a new branch from Bach who's in town, and they're servicing clients with loans. We've got BCT. We've got La Fise over in Coco, and now we have Volo Loans coming in from Utah.
Yep.
And so offering a myriad of products for buyers that want some financing. So it's super exciting to see this. I feel like it's still continuing to grow.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting, you know, just seeing what's happening out there. I mean, I completely agree with you. I mean, the individual coming, I'm seeing a lot more investors coming, if that makes sense, meaning that, like, I think because of where things are in the US, there is a lot of opportunity still in Costa Rica, because I think we're only just getting started there, as you mentioned, that, you know, like that 15% increase of like, this will be the biggest year of tourism this country's ever had, no doubt about it. You know, I see it in vacation rental data. You know, I see it just talking to everybody in the tourism industry of like, it's been a great year so far. And, you know, I only see that continuing, especially as we continue to put more flights on. But
I also see political, you know, we've got some, not that I like to talk about politics, but either way, your guy wins or he loses. 50% of the people want out of the US because of
True.
whatever happens with the political climate, right? And in
Yep.
Canada as well. So we've got that little magic card in our.
We should just rename Costa Rica to Plan B, because it sure sounds, it sure sounds like it is that for a lot of people. So, people are like, hey, what's the political situation down there? I'm like, well, we have a new president every 4 years. It's not the same guy. It's usually a completely different party. We have 25 candidates to choose from, and nobody knows who's going to win.
Yeah. We're kind of the Switzerland of Central America, I mean, there really isn't much that happens here. Nobody wants our Pura Vida. So we love having it, but it's not like something worth fighting another country for, right?
Exactly. Well, let's talk about something that you're very passionate about, MLS. I mean, Costa Rica is, it's always people are like, hey, is there MLS in Costa Rica? And everyone's like, well, I mean, maybe not. So, I mean, is that correct?
I will say 100% there is an MLS in Costa Rica. And I will say, it started last year with Becky and Lindsay, who brought Omni MLS to Costa Rica, which was huge just to bring that tool to our country. But, we really didn't have any sort of catalyst in which to get people excited about it. And, there was a lot of pushback and there were a lot of things that were wrong with it, because when you get a new tool in and there's change, there are people that are just, going to push back naturally, right? They've done it this way their whole lives. And now here comes these people coming in with this new fancy tool. But I'll tell you, I took it over about 6 months ago. This is a passion project of mine, because, being in real estate here and seeing how real estate is done, it makes me crazy. I mean, these WhatsApp chats and these Google Drive things. And I've been a broker for 26 years. My mom is 88 years old and she's doing real estate still for 45 years in the Pacific Northwest. And I have a daughter in Canada doing real estate. So I'm 3 generations, and that makes me crazy. And it makes me sad too. It makes me really sad, because I think, we can do better. We can do better. So I said, okay, I'm going to commit to doing this. And I started working with Ross Buck from Omni MLS. He's the CEO of Latin America, Omni MLS. And we started small with a little small group. We just started working on little things without anybody knowing about it, because we're hearing all this. Well, it doesn't work. It doesn't do this. Okay. Well, it doesn't work if you don't work.
True.
First of all, if you don't work the system, it's not going to work, hands down. And we found out that most people had logged in once and given up. So we need training. So we got some things fixed. We got some really cool features added to it. And then I got certified. Can you believe this? I am the only certified National Association of Realtors Omni MLS instructor in all of Costa Rica.
Ooh.
I know. It's a huge responsibility. Huge.
I can only imagine.
I do not take it lightly. And because I believe in this product so much, because it offers transparency, it offers one place for realtors and realtors who are legally working here, which is another thing. You must be legally working here in order, and a member of CCCBR, or did I get enough C's in there?
Yep.
Or CRGAR, in order to use the MLS. So it's a great place for your buyer, for your seller, for realtors to engage. And, we have over 400,000 realtors using the same MLS as us. We have Georgia, we have Houston, we have several in Florida, we have all of these MLSs are coming together, and the technology is just mind-blowing. Every day we add something new.
Who does the MLS serve?
The MLS serves your buyers, it serves sellers, and it serves realtors, because the realtors can communicate with each other in one place. No more of this, can I get an unbranded flyer? You have your own MLS portal. Every realtor has their own MLS portal in which they can then send all the information of all the listings out to their clients framed in their portal, which is huge. And sellers have exposure to their property like never before. How much exposure can you get from a Google Drive link? Okay, you already have 400,000 realtors on this system, as well as it's now going to be linked to realtor.com. And I'm sure you know that point 2 is gone. It's gone. They pulled out of Costa Rica. So what are we going to do? what are consumers going to do? Consumers going to go to every single website, try to figure that, navigate that, I don't know what to call it. It's
I mean, it's very complicated. Yeah.
It's just nuts. And so having this tool is just going to raise the level of professionalism and transparency and give us a platform that is truly stands out amongst anything else in all of Costa Rica.
Yeah, I mean, the question I'm sure that we always get, and I'm sure you get it all the time, Dawn, is like comps. Hey, can you show me some comps for stuff that's sold? Like, and I think that's where the MLS could have a huge impact, as well as just giving us data, and visibility.
Yes. I get chills when you say data, because I'm such a data nerd.
Oh, I'm there as well, Dawn.
I love it. Like I'm trying today, and it's getting there. We have 2,100, almost 2,200 listings on the MLS today. When I started this, we had less than 1,000.
Wow.
So this is working. And what I love is being able to have that professional CMA. And also, we touched on this financing part too. Well, who's going to do the appraisals? Where are they going to get that data from?
Yeah.
They're going to call up a realtor to ask them. This is real solid data that is coming out of here that's going to be useful for everybody. Just the tools are amazing. So excited.
I agree. I mean, I love data as well. I have a financial analyst in my office, and all his job is to analyze data, which is, again, I feel like I'm in a knife fight with a gun sometimes, but yeah, no, it's I mean, the more data we have, as long as you know how to use it, you're not drowning in it. Yeah, I think it's great.
That's what we're teaching now too. It's just, I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt.
No, you go ahead, Dawn. Sorry.
We're teaching, because I'm excited about this. We're teaching people too, because we go in and we find things where, we were looking and we see these little things where somebody accidentally put their listing out in the ocean, and we know that there isn't a house out there. And so we're fixing things like that. And also, bringing the agents in to understand how important their role is in putting the data in correctly into this tool and what they're going to get out of it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's great that there is more regulation and more standardization coming to something that to date has been kind of very cowboy or cowgirly, if that makes sense, over the years. Because you mentioned something there, which is, the realtor should be legal here in Costa Rica. I mean, can anyone be a realtor here in Costa Rica? I mean, what's your answer to that one? Because people ask me all the time, and I answer the same question. I mean, they need to legally be able to work here, but like, how do you verify that?
Well, first of all, realtor is a trademark name.
Yep.
And in order to use the word realtor, you must be a member of the National Association of Realtors. And your local association buys you that ticket to be with the National Association of Realtors. And these are a group of professionals who have agreed to abide by a certain standard of practice and a certain standard of rules with accountability. Anyone else can be a real estate agent in Costa Rica. Anyone can be a real estate agent.
Yep.
But I think when you're looking for someone that you want to represent you, they should at least, number one, be a resident of Costa Rica.
Yeah.
First and foremost, if you're not a resident, you're not legally able to work here. I don't care if you're in Traumate, if you're whatever, if you're not, you're not a resident. So, it is what it is. I worked as a referral agent until I got my residency. So I actually joined the association because I have my license in the United States, and I was able to join as a referral partner and then just refer out my business until I could become a resident. And that way I learned the business too. So I was in it before I could actually do it, but I learned a lot. So if you have a license from another country, you can do something like that. But first a resident, then SUHEP. SUHEP is huge. You must be registered with SUHEP and the hacienda so that they can regulate the money and understand, the money as it's flowing in, and that you're paying your taxes and you're not, doing anything illegal. And then the third thing, which is not required, it's not mandatory, but if you're going to be a part of a profession, people who invest in that profession by becoming a member of their local association are a higher standard individual.
Yeah.
They're held to a higher standard. They get education, there's designations, there's all kinds of training, and there's networking and collaboration and peers that you can reach out to when you belong to the association. So if you don't have at least 2 out of those 3, I would say I wouldn't work with that person, honestly. I mean, and experience too. I mean, or at least be working with a team. You know, we have 40 people on our team.
Yep.
So, you know, we're always helping each other. So at least if you don't have someone backing you up, that's pretty difficult too. It's hard here. It is. This is not easy.
I mean, I don't think anything is easy in Costa Rica, right? And you learn that real quick when you get here. I mean, you know, I mean, when you buy a place, changing over the electricity name to someone else is a nightmare. Like nothing is easy in this country.
Oh, I know. I'm taking care of a client's house while they're in Portugal right now, and I went to pay their electric bill. And typically, I would just go into, you know, Official or something and pay it. Oh no! Now you have to. Now they give you a piece of paper that you have to sign up on some other thing. I'm like, oh my God, no.
Yep.
But anyway, yeah.
I left my Costa Rican cedula because I'm a citizen. So I left my cedula the other day in the bank, and over the weekend I couldn't figure out how it was. And of course, the bank never called me to tell me they had it. Of course. So I was like, I wonder if I could order online a copy of my cedula. And you know what? It got done today, and it'll be delivered on Wednesday. I can't believe it. Like
wow. I know some things, and then other things are just so difficult.
Yep.
And I think, you know, coming back to that, having that experience, because you can't possibly know what you don't know.
Yep.
There just is no way. And there are things. And so I think having experience and understanding process and understanding how to go through a process and having the resources or the mindfulness to be able to resolve a problem. You've got to be a top-notch problem solver.
Yeah, I mean, it's never a straight line.
You know, because we had a problem, didn't we?
Yeah, but it's never a straight line, right?
Yeah, but we just kept going through the process, and we just kept going through step by step, but it was not easy. And we didn't know if we were going to make it to the finish line, but we focused on that process and we got through that. And it took a whole village. It took a team.
Yep. A very good team, I must say. It was a very, very good team on that one.
We all worked really well together, and I was really proud of that deal.
Yep.
So, you know, I mean, it just, you really, and people, and again, like even the agent doesn't know what they don't know. They know more than the consumer who doesn't know what they don't know.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
It's just, consumers walk in here and I feel bad for the contracts they get involved in. And, you know, I just shake my head. So I am happy to be moving the needle more towards professionalism, transparency, and, you know, a platform like this.
Well, I will say from everyone that listens to this podcast, thank you very much, Dawn, for doing that, because I think, again, it's rising the tide of investing real estate in Costa Rica. So thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Well, my last question for you, Dawn, which I love to ask everyone, as I know you're busy with the MLS. If you inherited $500,000 and had to invest it into a business or real estate in Costa Rica, what would you invest it in and why?
100% property.
Yeah. What would you, what and where? Because people always say,
my goodness.
You know, but like, you know, you've got $5,000. What would you, I mean, you don't need
me on the spot.
Yeah.
I would buy something that is up and coming, an up and coming neighborhood, something like Amañanas or something like Punta Playa Vistas, where Becky's building, where it's close to Playa Minas, something that's up and coming. I definitely 100% would buy property because we're not getting any more of it. And real estate is always the best bet. A business, maybe, you know, business, if you were buying something that was a substantial business, maybe, but, you know, it's still a headache and it's still a huge risk. And I think real estate is not as much of a risk if you just hold it. You know, whatever the market is doing, you can always hold it or you can let it go. But it's something you can hold on that's tangible. To business is a little scary to me. And it isn't solid. It's not a solid foundation to me.
Well, I think you have to work at a business, if that makes sense. Like if you buy real estate, I mean, you need to improve it a little bit by there, but like it's a job. Like when you buy real estate, it's not a job. When you buy a business, I mean, but people are like, no, I'm going to passively invest in a business. I'm like, I don't know any business that you passively invest in unless you're going to be a shareholder in a business and buy it, you know. But if you're going to own a business, like its success comes down to its owner.
100%. And you're exactly right. The job. And so I am 100% invest in real estate all day long.
Well, awesome. Dawn, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you here on the podcast. And anyone that wants to contact you, I'll put all of your contact details down in the description. But very much appreciate you taking the time to chat with us today.
Wow, it's been an absolute pleasure. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome. Speak to you soon, Dawn.
Pura vida.
Very interesting podcast there with Dawn. I love how she's just throwing herself into this MLS, not getting paid for it either. So it's kind of giving back, which is, a great thing to do here in Costa Rica. I think for anyone to survive here in Costa Rica, you have to be part of the community and really give back in whatever aspect that may be. A few people have mentioned gentrification here in Costa Rica, and I think, yes, it's happening, but I think it happens more in areas where there is not this community with locals and kind of things build up and kind of the tide rises, throughout Costa Rica. So anyway, but just a great podcast there. I hope you really, really enjoyed it, getting that viewpoint from Dawn and just really getting an idea of, kind of what the MLS is, how it helps people, but also just getting her viewpoint of where she would invest in Costa Rica as well. I'd love to get people's viewpoint. As you can see, it's kind of all over the map. But I think for a hands-off investment in Costa Rica, real estate is probably a pretty good one here. But anyway, guys, if you've enjoyed the podcast, please do give us a 5 stars, a thumbs up. I do love to see them, or comment, or send us an email just to say hello. info@investingcostarica.com. That's info@investingcostarica.com. Until the next podcast, guys, we'll see you later. Bye.
The #1 Costa Rica real estate and investment podcast, bringing you experts from all over Costa Rica.